The main thing that you want to do is planning. These are all inspirational things that got me planning. If I wanted stone, concrete, block, this design here with the side rails is something that I'm looking into. Possibly when I drop in the stairs or I make the stairs that I'm going to need to go into my backyard. I'm going to definitely go into those choices. Right now, there is nothing in the backyard. If you go into it without a plan, you most likely are going to get overwhelmed by the choices. And trust me, you have a lot of choices when it comes down to actually getting your project accomplished. There's a lot of materials, there's a lot of sourcing, there's a lot of prices, there's a lot of things that you can do. And all those things cost money. So depending on what your budget is or what your materials are or what you go for is going to change the look, the feel. It's going to change your entire plan, and it's going to change the time and budgeting. As far as for me, I do all the work myself. I'm really creative when it comes down to materials. I'm going to be using all the stone that I have, and I have a ton of stone in my backyard, all around my yard. There's these beautiful black stones that I'm going to be using in a combination with stone and some other blocks that I have laying around here to make the stairway. After I make the stairway, I'm going to continue down the path and be making the entire path down. Most of it is going to be concrete, but for the most part, it's going to be stone and concrete all the way down. So removing all this grass and dirt and everything that's in the way has been the most difficult part for me, especially because I've been doing it after work and whenever I get some free time, because since I'm the one doing all the work, I got to a couple of spots where I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing this. There's so much work that I've been doing, but when I see it once in a while, I'm like, wow, I really am finishing this project up. But it is a lot of work, and it can feel like that when you're doing the initial removal, or when you step back and you actually look at the plan or you look at your project as a whole and it's just you doing it. It can seem really overwhelming. Looking at those two big mountains of dirt, it's been about like 16 to and I'm 12 to 16 inches of dirt that I've been removing, and these are, I think it's about 4 feet by 30 feet. I still have to remove this actual ground. I got to be extra careful when it comes down to the ground because I don't want to split the actual copper wire going to the secondary ground. So this is going to take me a little bit longer, and I got to go a little bit slower because I don't want to damage any cables or anything like that. These steel nails that are on the actual concrete are from the initial drop of the concrete siding. I'm also going to be removing all of those, but as a whole, the actual plan is coming fairly well. All those concrete blocks, I'm going to be removing them as well, and they're going to be recycled, and going through the actual process of removing that and not damaging the actual copper wire or actual damaging the actual studs that ground out the electricity was a little bit of a challenge, but I went ahead and did it. I tried to get this ground out. It was a pain. I tried some jacks. I tried digging it out all the way to the bottom. I finally gave in, and I actually just unscrewed the actual copper wire itself and re-threaded it a little bit lower on the secondary stud, and everything panned out really well. Another challenge that I faced when I was on top of the actual hill, I have this giant stone. It's about 70 pounds, and all I have is an air hammer and a sludge hammer, a couple other chisels and stuff. So I broke it down into smaller pieces and got rid of the actual stone. Okay, so finally we get into the staircase. This is what it's supposed to look like. I have a rough idea of how it's going to look like. I'm going to be using these blocks as the final material that I'm going to be using for the staircase. It's going to be in a combination with those blocks and actual concrete. But as you can see, as far as the trash can, at the very top, that's going to be completely concrete. All this dirt is everything that actually came from the side that I was digging out. I'm gonna have to remove that or reuse that in a meaningful purpose as I walk up here. The side concrete right there, that's gonna be my guideline all the way down to the actual stairs. Going into the stairs, I'm gonna be having my first step. There's gonna be a secondary step, a third, and possibly a fourth, or a complete continuation into concrete all the way down to the top of my actual garage. From the other side, if I'm looking to it from this angle, I marked it down. I scalped, took out all the grass from this portion here. There's not going to be any grass there. That's all going to be like a solid piece of concrete. Looking back, and there's going to be more concrete or block or stone going all the way down to my backyard. Finally, I'll have easy access to my actual backyard.